Each and every Monday is $9 Monday at wagertalk.com, and all daily picks packages are priced at only $9, including 5% best bets normally priced at $35. As an added bonus, any picks packages loaded early for overnight Tuesday or action during the week will also be priced at $9 until midnight on Monday. So make sure to take advantage of getting these $25 and $35 picks for only $9 before the clock strikes 12 and they return to regular price.
Welcome into the NFL Opening Line Report. I am Drew Martin, joined by Teddy Covers each and every Monday morning right here on the Wager Talk YouTube channel, getting you on the right side of some of these NFL moves, and my co-host here on Twitter at Teddy_Covers. Teddy, welcome in. Happy Monday morning to you, buddy.
Hey, happy Monday, Drew. Great to be here, my friend. Let's get into it, man. So there's some. I have to ask you though. Do you like practice that welcome in? Do you think about that before you go? Because every week, as soon as that intonation comes out of your mouth, it's like, all right, I'm ready. You know, the energy gets a boost. There's something about the way you say those two words, welcome in, that it works for me. I think it works for our audience as well. But did you practice that?
Oh, many times, Teddy. I gotta admit that. You know, it's like a sales pitch in my old job. You got to practice that kind of stuff. So hopefully it helps people out there on a Monday morning. You know, get off to the right side. One of the producers, you know, Joe Ranieri, obviously doing a great job with the graphics, everything. But Chris Allen, he always does something with that, saying that, you know, the intro is so important, and that really hit me because a lot of people comment on that. So hopefully it puts a smile on some people's face. But even more so, Teddy, your information with some of these moves in the marketplace, NFL betting markets, guys. You know, cash and tickets is what really puts people's smile on people's face, and hopefully we can help do that today. So we got a Monday nighter actually first before we get to the opening line report, AFC East style here. The Pats and the Bills, we're seeing -3 here. That's the Bills at home. There is a 2.5 out there. 41 being the total, Teddy. Great Monday night game, man. This is one I'm really excited for. Any quick thoughts before we kick off the opening line report?
So I'm still seeing plenty of 2.5s out there. All right. It's not, you know, in terms of prominent books, this is a legitimate split line.
Okay. Yeah.
And when you have a split line on a Monday for a Monday night football game, it doesn't matter which side you like. This is the key. If you like New England, put +3 in your pocket. If you like Buffalo, put -2.5 in your pocket. You can find both lines right now. No, that's not where it comes, Joe. Yeah. We got opening lines coming. We got a emergency betting alert coming. This isn't one of those. That being said, whichever side you like, if you have access to multiple books, you can find whatever number. You know, here in Vegas, there's 2.5, no juice. And there's 3, no juice. You know, -110 either way. That's a good opportunity to have as a better. Belichick plus points is something that I'm not I have no interest in standing in front of from a handicapping perspective. Patriots are pass for me, but it's not a game that I played.
Okay. It's going to be a fun one, though, guys. Hopefully you enjoy it here Monday night. And, guys, the first opening line report game here, Thursday night, we get the Pittsburgh Steelers and the Minnesota Vikings. We saw the Vikings -3.5, Teddy. We're mostly seeing -3s. There are 3.5 still out there, 45 being the total. Teddy, what are we thinking Thursday night opening line report style?
So just a little recap. Well, last week we had 3 emergency betting alerts. We had Arizona. That was right. Arizona moved up off of 7. The 7s were gone. We had Cincinnati. That was right. And then they actually came back on game day with money on LA. And then we had Miami. That was right, too. So the goal is to put you guys on the right side of some of these early week line moves. And this game right now, Pittsburgh, Minnesota, all right, look ahead line was, oh, crap, I have last week's number. There we go. Look ahead line was Minnesota 3.5. My powering number is only 2.5 on this game. And right now, as we speak, there's a split market. There's 3s and 3.5s out there. It does not look like the 3.5s are going to hold. So now's the time, Joe, for that emergency betting alert, please. If you like the dog in this game, find a +3.5 because they're not going to be there. I don't think they're going to be there in an hour. This is one of those you got to go right now because the money has already come on Pittsburgh. I don't know that I love it with the money coming in on Pittsburgh. In terms of the matchup, I don't want the old quarterbacks on a short week with travel, and that's exactly what Pittsburgh is in this situation. It's not like everything the Steelers do is hard. They found a way to win yesterday's game, but they're not doing a whole lot easily. And, of course, we're talking about a run defense that's been gashed, which is bad news against a Vikings team that can run the football pretty well. Minnesota losing yesterday to Detroit in frustrating fashion, 0 for 3 on 2-point conversion. They ended up losing the game by 2 points. They allowed an offensively challenged team to score more than 17 on offense for the first time since week 1. And to make it worse, Adam Thielen got hurt, high ankle sprain. He could be out a while. Kirk Cousins quote after the game, I wasn't sure if he was being serious or not. It's obviously a tough loss. I'm going to think about it for years. Well, you better put it out of your mind pretty quick because you got Pittsburgh on Thursday night. Don't be thinking about that for years, Kirk Cousins. It wasn't the Vikings offense that cost them the game yesterday. Pittsburgh's defense did have 7 sacks in the win over Baltimore. But again, the Steelers on a short week with travel, that's not, in my mind, an optimal scenario for Pittsburgh.
Yeah, I'm with you, Teddy. That's a kind of a tough ask for the Steelers. We got Sunday action here, guys. Sunday, December 12th. We're going down in rotation order. First one up, AFC West matchup here, Teddy. Las Vegas Raiders, Kansas City Chiefs. I'm seeing a 1 o'clock Eastern, 10 a.m. Pacific kickoff here. 9.5. That's the Chiefs as the home favorite at most sports books. There is some 9s out there, 49 being the total. What are we thinking here in Arrowhead?
The look headline was KC 10 and 52.5. My parity number is KC 10, and the markets this morning are sitting at 9.5. That's pretty much across the board. We have seen a little bit of under money for this one. How about this for Andy Reid? We need to put Andy Reid in the coaching pantheon. He's been in Kansas City for 9 years. In each of those 9 seasons, the Chiefs have had at least one 5+ game winning streak. They're on one now again. Look, wow. The offense for KC is still broken. All right, they only had 15 first downs, only 4.9 yards per play. Mahomes, no touchdowns. Again, Mahomes has 0 or 1 touchdown passes in 5 of the last 6 games. By far the lowest QBR of his career. But all of a sudden, the Kansas City defense, much maligned earlier in the season, they've gotten healthy. And boy, they stopped Denver on 4th down 3 times. They held an opponent to fewer than 10 points for the 3rd time in the last 4 games. The Raiders have the most explosive plays in the NFL, but they couldn't do anything downfield. In yesterday's game against Washington, they could not control the line of scrimmage. It was all dinks and dunks. The pass rush is there. The red zone defense isn't. And that's a concern for the Raiders because if you're going to keep KC, you're going to stay in a game with Kansas City, you got to be forcing field goals, not touchdowns. The Raiders dead last in the NFL in red zone defense. And, of course, Darren Waller hurt. He didn't play this past week. And all the quotes from the Raiders, all about frustration after losing a very winnable game against Washington yesterday that certainly put their playoff hopes in jeopardy. Vegas now looking up at a whole bunch of teams at them, ahead of them in the standings. That's not easy to go into Kansas City and take care of business, but they certainly have been showing some acumen on the highway. Again, no, there's not an urgency here necessarily for either side in this one. We are seeing under money. If you like the under, I bet that sooner rather than later.
We got Doogie in the chat box saying the Kansas City defense has been impressive in recent weeks, and that was actually one of the turnarounds for them getting to the Super Bowl. The defense playing a lot better, so maybe the Chiefs kind of, at least the market telling us, guys, as a -9.5 point favorite, playing a lot better football. Teddy, next game up, 107-108 here. New Orleans Saints, New York Jets. We're seeing the Saints -6 point road favorites pretty much across the board here. 43.5 being the total in MetLife.
Yeah, look headline was 6.5. My number's only 3.5 on the game. The markets opened 6 yesterday. Look ahead total was sitting at 43.5, and that's pretty much where the markets are this morning. I mean, the Jets were very good to me and my bankroll yesterday. Had a big play on Philadelphia, minus the points against the Jets, thinking the Jets were not going to be able to stop the Eagles, whether it was Jalen Hurts or Gardner Minshew, and that was the case. The defensive breakdowns continue. For New York. It's been a problem all year for them, obviously. And, they were embarrassed after yesterday's loss. CJ Mosley, it's all about respect. Right now, teams are not respecting us. That's well-deserved, whether it's by self-inflicted wounds by the history of the Jets. When things change, they're going to change quick. I go to work every day with that mindset. The next day is going to see that change. Will it happen? When will it happen? I don't know. When it does happen, we're going to be ready for it. That's my mindset every time I step on the field. Of course, this is the Jets team that's now allowing just shy of 31 points per game, which is on pace to be the worst defense in Jets history. And of course, injuries in the secondary right now. And a little bit of shade on the coaching staff, which is definitely something you pay attention to with first-year coaches. Cornerback Bryce Hall. They didn't prepare for Minshew. No, we didn't. We prepared for Jalen. Oops. On the other side of the equation, of course, you have a Saints team that has now lost 5 in a row. They failed to score in the first quarter of any of those games. Taysom Hill, it's very frustrating. It's unfamiliar territory for us. This is my 5th year, and I haven't experienced anything like this since I've been a Saint. Of course, Hill's coming off a 4-turnover performance. And yeah, he threw for 264 and ran for 101. But he threw 4 picks, and he's got a bad finger on his throwing hand. Those are concerns in my mind for any road favorite.
Teddy, next game up, we get San Francisco at Cincinnati, 109-110, 425 Eastern, 125 Pacific kick, 47.5 being the total here, Teddy. And we're seeing -1. There is a -1 in the hook. There's also Pick'em out there offshore. That's the Cincinnati Bengals at home, Teddy.
Yeah, and this opened with a real split line. There were places that opened San Fran as a favorite. There were places that opened Cincy as high as 2.5. And the markets, pretty much have settled on Cincy Pick'em / -1. The look ahead was Bengals -2.5. My powering number is Cincy -1.5. My NFL's been running real good. We had another good weekend this weekend, but I did get one wrong. The only loser I had for the clients was on San Francisco minus the points in Seattle yesterday, a game where the Niners had a whole lot of chances to even rally back at the end, but couldn't get it done. A lot of mistakes, real sloppy game. I mean, look, they won the yardage battle 6.5 to 4.8 yards per play. Yards per pass against Seattle, who takes shots downfield. San Fran was 9.5 to 4.4. But they just lost to a team. They got swept by a team. The only other 2 wins they have this year are the 2-10 Jaguars and the Colts in Wentz's first game. That's a bad loss for San Fran. They couldn't run the football yesterday. They'd averaged 178 yards during their 3-game winning streak, just 71 yesterday. George Kittle, our offense, we didn't really do anything in the second half. It's hard to win in Seattle if you don't do anything in the second half. There's no sugarcoating what Jimmy G did yesterday. Jimmy G was on a scale of 1 to 10. He was about a -4. He was off. Both of his interceptions were awful. He looked like he made Andy Dalton look good. His first interception was ridiculous. His second interception was even worse. And the injuries getting really bad for San Fran. They have rookie cornerbacks at both positions yesterday, which is a major concern. Obviously, against the Seattle team that hadn't moved the ball in weeks. Against San Fran, up and down the field against the 49ers. Those are big concerns for San Fran on both sides of football as they travel east. The Bengals had 2 replacement starting linemen in the offensive lineman. Their starting center and their tackle were both out. They both had first corner penalties. And the next thing you know, they were down 24-0. And they showed me something, rallying back, because they were flat as a pancake in that game. They actually made things real interesting. It was 24-22, and there was a fumble return touchdown, and that kind of took the life out of their sails. Zach Taylor, that was a sloppy game all around. To get in a hole the way we did, the things that I did were unacceptable. We didn't deserve to win. Worth noting, Joe Burrow dislocated his pinky in that game. It's, quote, it's something I'm going to have to deal with. I'm not going to miss any games because of it. That's not something that's going to happen. San Fran's been real good traveling east for early start games against lesser teams. This is an early start game. It's actually been flexed out to the late game. And Cincy, certainly a team I'm interested in off a loss. I wouldn't be surprised. I'm not seeing indicators from the markets yet, but I wouldn't be surprised if we see at least some Cincy money this week. We've already seen some to make the line Bengals -1 as we speak.
This is the NFL opening line report each and every Monday morning, 10 a.m. Pacific time, right here on the Wager Talk YouTube channel. I am Drew Martin, joined by Teddy Covers each and every Monday. Huge shout out to the chat box, everybody joining us live. We got Pie Guy in the house from north of the border in Canada. We get Paul in the house from England. I know a lot of you guys watching from Mexico City as well. Wherever you're watching from, let us know. Maybe a cool place in the Caribbean, anywhere, Iowa. It all works, guys. Just come join us in the chat box. Let us know where you're watching from, what you're looking to bet, what lines you think are moving. We'll get it out here on the show. All is welcome as we move down the list here. 111, 112, 1 o'clock Eastern, 10 a.m. Pacific kick here, Teddy. Jacksonville at Tennessee. We're seeing the Titans minus 10 or minus 10 in the hook in Nashville. 44 the total in this one, Teddy.
Yeah, look ahead line was Tennessee minus 9.5, total of 46. My powering number, Tennessee minus 10.5. The markets, there were some 10.5s. There probably still are. But it's mostly 10s right now. I'd feel, I could give an emergency betting alert for 10.5, but they're gone. There's a couple out there, but I don't like to give out, when I give out an emergency betting alert, people look for the number. And this is one of these situations where it might not be quite so easy to find. We'll have to see what the Titans look like after the bye week. They were a shell of themselves going in to the bye week, and they had that 4-turnover game, 3 fumbles by the running backs, the interception by Tannehill, who finished 11 of 21 for 93 yards. I'll give them credit because even when trailing by 3 scores against New England, they still ran for 270 on the ground on 39 carries. They stayed true to their plan, but in big, bold letters up here, I got this team is not what they were a month ago for Tennessee. That said, I don't know the Jags are either. The defense bent but didn't break early, and then they just ran out of steam, and that's going to happen when you're an offense that can't do anything. Trevor Lawrence, there are some times where you're at a loss for words, especially in a game like this where you're moving the ball earlier and then can't get anything going. The turnovers hurt, but when you can't move the ball consistently, it's pretty much impossible to come back. Urban Meyer, I don't mean to be redundant and go into coach speak, but there's nothing else I can tell you. Is it frustrating for everyone involved? Absolutely. Are we better than that? Absolutely. So now it's time to go and produce. So, I'll give the Jags credit defensively. They tried. But this offense is as bad as anything this side of Houston. 3.6 yards per play, minus 2 turnovers yesterday, and not showing any signs of improvement. In theory, it might be a nice get-healthy spot for Tennessee.
Teddy, next game up, we got 113, 114. Baltimore at Cleveland. We are seeing the Browns minus 2, minus 2.5 at some shops right now. 42.5 being the total. Ravens, Browns, Teddy, what are we thinking here?
Look ahead line here, Baltimore minus 1. My powering number is Pick'em, and right now we're seeing the money come on Cleveland. This was in that minus 1 range. Now we're seeing minus 2, minus 2.5. I'm not expecting it to get to 3. And at 3, there will be buyback on Baltimore. So this isn't one of those, you got to run to the window and lay 2.5 with the Browns here. I think it'll be there. Baltimore loses yesterday in a game that they should have won. But there are a lot of concerns for the Ravens moving forward. Lamar Jackson said he played like a rookie after throwing that career worst 4 interceptions the previous week. In a game they still managed to win and cover. But he played like a rookie again. Yesterday, he opened the game by getting picked off in the end zone and had a lot of problems in that offense for Baltimore. But the bigger issue, perhaps, for the Ravens is what's going on in the secondary right now. Marlon Humphrey, it looks like he suffered a season ender yesterday. All their active cornerbacks last week, Anthony Everett, Tavon Young, Jimmy Smith, they all missed at least one practice last week. They already had season-ending injuries to Marcus Peters and Deshaun Elliott. This is a big problem for Baltimore in their secondary. Why'd they go for 2 last night at the end of the game? Quote, Harbaugh, we're trying to win the game right there. We were pretty much out of cornerbacks at that time. It was an opportunity to try to win. Nose tackle Brandon Williams. We got a lot of injuries. We've been dealing with stress all season, and we've still been able to overcome it. So that's what we plan on doing. It's a next man up mentality. So the show must go on. But there are definitely cracks here for Baltimore. Cleveland, in theory, coming off the bye, should be as healthy, rested, and ready as they've been all year. I would not be shocked if we do see more money for Cleveland, but I'm not seeing the indicators right now that say you have to get to the window and lay less than a field goal with the Browns. I think that number will be there.
Teddy, next game up, we got NFC South matchup. Atlanta Falcons, Carolina Panthers. We're seeing the Panthers minus 3. There is a 2.5 out there at DraftKings. 43 being the total. So mostly minus 3 here. That's the Panthers at home, Teddy.
Yeah, my powering number is 2.5 total. Oh, sorry, look ahead line was 2.5 and 45.5. My powering number for Carolina is only 1. And again, it's a Panthers team that's flailing in all kinds of different ways right now. They're on their 3rd different starting quarterback. in Cam Newton. Cam Newton wasn't on the team throughout training camp. He wasn't on the team for the first month of the season. When you have a quarterback like that, it's going to be a limited offense. Then they fired Joe Brady during the bye week, the offensive coordinator. It's an offensive line that is a disaster right now. It's a head coach who his name is getting bandied about for other jobs. His rule stay in the NFL. There's not for me to like a whole lot about Carolina right now, which is pretty frustrating. I need the Panthers to go 3-2 in their last 5 games. I'm not convinced they're going to get there, especially given their schedule. And Carolina's been a terrible home favorite this season. So the other choice in this game is Atlanta, who, Matt Ryan took 41 sacks last year and 48 the year before and 42 the year before that. He was sacked 5 times yesterday, and he was called for intentional grounding. It's a Falcons team, quote, this was a quote before the game, biggest game of the year for us this week. And they played a good first half and then pretty ugly second half for Falcons backers, for overbackers. And that was their biggest game of the year. I don't love Atlanta this week. But again, if you're laying with Carolina, I've tried to lay with Carolina this year. It has not served me well or my clients.
Teddy, we got next game up here, Dallas Cowboys, Washington football team. We're seeing the Cowboys -4.5, actually mostly -5s, but kind of a split line here between 4.5 and -5. 49.5 being the total. What are we thinking in this NFC East matchup, Teddy?
And those 4.5s have just started to pop since we've been on air. So for what it's worth, there's clearly some money coming for Washington right now. Dallas coming off, how do we call the win against the Saints? Nondescript. The biggest play of the game was on defense. It's an offense that hasn't clicked. It really hasn't clicked in any recent week. They're obviously still dealing with the COVID issues that they had with the McCarthy and 5 assistants. They are as healthy as they've been. In fact, they didn't report any injuries during the game against the Saints, which is very rare. But here's a Washington team that's, playing their football against the year. And by the way, Washington, 5 games in a row versus divisional foes to close the season means if they take care of business, they got Dallas, Philly, and the Giants in their next 5, which means that every goal they have is still very much in front of them. Now, Heineke was real dicey yesterday again. And he got lucky that Trevion Marek dropped the game-sealing interception. His quote, it's literally the same thing happening against the Giants. I feel like we played really well in the 2-minute drill. We practiced a lot. Guys executed really well. We got lucky on that one throw, but that's football. I'll give Heineke credit for this. He's led 4 game-winning drives for Washington in his first year as a starting quarterback. That's a team that sometimes will intrigue you as an underdog. Certainly the market's pointing in that direction right here.
Teddy, we got next game up going from Dallas, Washington to Seattle at Houston. We're seeing the Seahawks -7 in the hook point road favorites. There are some -8s out there. 42.5 being the total in Houston, Texas, Teddy.
Let's get some doodly oops out here, shall we?
Let's get after it. Doodly oop, doodly oop. Emergency betting alert.
Yeah, this one's coming down. Look ahead line here. Seattle -6.5, 44.5. My powering number, even after the Seahawks win and the Houston looked like god awful yesterday, 6.5. The market's open. There were 8s out there. You said there are a couple 8s out there. They're not going to last. If you want a +8, find it now. I'm not convinced the 7.5s are going to last. The markets are not about to get excited about Seattle coming off of a win in which we'll give the Seahawks credit for finding a way to beat their division opponent. But, they had a fake punt touchdown. They pulled out all the stops for that one. It's not an offense that's clicking. It's not a defense that's clicking. And again, Seattle's 4 wins this year. The Colts in Wentz's first game, the Jaguars and the 49ers twice. They were outgained. They were out-yarded. Gerald Everett turned the ball over 3 times. This is not a Seahawks team that is necessarily primed to make a late season run. And for the Texans, offensively, this is as bad a team as you'll see in the NFL ever. We may well see. Do you remember seeing a full year of a team as bad offensively as Houston? We could see Davis Mills back. The starting quarterback, Tyrod Taylor, got benched this week. They finished with 2.8 yards per play for the full game. Culley, after the game, talking about whether it's going to be Taylor or Mills. When you don't score any points during a game, you evaluate everything. And Houston, Culley keeps on benching players for missing meetings that you don't know about until the day of the game. Houston cashed an under ticket for me yesterday, thanks to their offense. But in terms of this is not a team that the markets are going to be super excited about. But I know that Seattle is a squad that there will be some resistance against in this point spread range. We've already seen some. I feel like the Texans find the +8 now, and I wouldn't hesitate grabbing the 7.5 now. This line's not going up; it can only come down.
It just caught me off guard how you said the Houston Texans worst team ever in the NFL. I don't know. I found that funny. I mean, yeah, okay, defensively, I got you.
The defense is fine, but that offense is as weak. I mean, there's not any area of mediocrity. You know, the offensive line is bottom tier. The receiving core is bottom tier. The quarterback is bottom tier. The running backs are bottom tier. The play calling is bottom tier. And when you think about the very worst offense in the NFL that you've ever seen, Houston's this year stacks up with that. And I haven't done any research to find the worst offense year by year, yards per play. But the Texans are right there. That's a very rough offensive team. I wouldn't be surprised at all if that game takes a whole bunch of under money. We've already seen some come in 43.5 down to 42.5.
Absolutely, Teddy. Good analysis here. We got a few games left on Sunday. We'll get the next Monday nighter as well, guys. Detroit Lions, Denver Broncos. Next game up, 1-2-1, 1-2-2 here. 4:05 Eastern kick, 1:05 Pacific. 42.5 being the total pretty much across the board here, Teddy. Also -8 across the board. That's the Broncos, a mile high.
Yeah, look at line was 8.5, 43.5. My powering number is 9, so we're in the same basic range with Denver. Two teams obviously off very disparate results yesterday. The Broncos still alive in the AFC, but that was a must-win game for them. I came last week on the show and talked about that quote from the Broncos saying, whatever we do, we got to figure out a way to win this game. And they had plenty of chances, but they turned the ball over. And that's going to be, they're what's the appropriate term for the Broncos offense? They're better than Houston. But
yeah, they're not very good.
When you have a 20-play drive ending with a failed fourth down, and then you have the 75-yard pick six, and Bridgewater throwing picks throughout the second half, and they're still alive to cover the spread. It was frustrating me at Denver, but that's their season's been that way. They're not an elite offensive team. Of course, do you want the Lions off their first win of the year? That's the question. And again, I'll give Goff all the credit in the world for leading the game-winning drive on the last play of the game. But that's the first time that the offense has scored more than 17 points since week 1. And if you watch the game, you know exactly what I'm talking about. Goff was just as bad as he's always been. But in this instance, he was able to catch, the receivers made plays. And maybe the Lions receivers are getting better. That was as bad a weaker receiving core as you'll find in the NFL. We saw receivers make plays yesterday. DeAndre Swift didn't matter. Jamal Williams came in and run the football again. But I would be a little bit reluctant to back Detroit off a win. I'm not convinced they're going to come out and take 2 in a row. But Broncos not an easy team to lay points with, not with an offense that can't move the football.
Yeah, that back door was open for a little bit last night, guys, in the Sunday nighter, but closed quickly there with the the offense that Teddy's talking about there in the Broncos. Huge shout out to the chat box. Everybody joining us live. We got a bunch of different locations here, Teddy. We got Kevin, who's a Canadian, hanging out in Hollywood Beach down in Florida, went to the Dolphins game. Welcome in, Kevin. We got Doogie in the house, Gerald Jones. He's watching from Albany, New York. Z's in the house from New York as well. So a little New York heavy, but wherever you're watching from, welcome in. Ben from Illinois as well, a Packer fan in Illinois. So however you are watching, thanks for joining us. 10 a.m. each and every Monday right here on the Wager Talk YouTube channel, the opening line report. Few games left here on Sunday, Teddy. New York Giants, LA Chargers. So the Giants making the cross-country trip here, 45.5 being the total. We're seeing the Chargers laying doubles here in SoFi, -10 pretty much across the board now, Teddy.
I want to look. I can't remember the guy's name now. I used to do a radio show in Albany with the local host. So I did it for a good couple of years back in the aughts. I was in Albany this summer for what it's worth. Hi, Albany.
Oh, nice.
Okay. Look ahead line here. It's LA minus 7.5, total 46.5. My powering number, Chargers 8. The market's certainly higher than that. And I didn't make a full adjustment down for Daniel Jones. We don't know if he's going to go this week. From all indications, that's going to be the case. And of course, Mike Glennon hasn't won a game as a starting quarterback since 2017, and he's gotten plenty of playing time. Judge's quote after the game: "Yes." When asked about sticking with Glennon, I would say at this point, yes. We've got to do a better job of taking advantage of all opportunities. We have to understand the margin for error in this league is so small. Yeah, Judge is on the hot seat right now, shall we say? And I don't know if the Giants, money poured in. It was the worst game of the week for the books. Was the Dolphins Giants yesterday? That game was open 2.5 and closed high at 7, and Miami got the money, and that was pros and Joes, everyone riding Miami. So I'm not sure if the books have made an appropriate adjustment for the Giants, but they're not going to get caught with their pants down for the Giants again this week, and hence the double-digit spread. Chargers did their best. I mean, if Cincy doesn't screw it up, the Chargers would have blown that 24-0 lead, and they would have lost that game. But Cincy made more mistakes, and the key mistakes. Brandon Staley today was a bit uneven at time, but our guys played extremely hard. We were outstanding against a run against a really, really good back. They did shut down Joe Mixon in that contest, but Joey Bosa got hurt. I thought from Staley, I really thought we rushed the quarterback at a high level, all hands on deck in the pass rush. If they do that against the Giants, it's likely to be problematic for a Giants offense that is not handling pressure very well. That said, the Chargers defensively have not been the type of team that you want to lay doubles with, and the Chargers off a win. This team's been real good off a loss. Off a win against the spread, not so much. I'm not seeing anything big with the line right now. It's 10s pretty much painted across the board. There is there's a couple of 10.5s out there, but not many, and I'm not anticipating this line to move in any significant way.
Good stuff, Teddy. Huge shout out to the chat box again. Michael saying this is the best show on Wager Talk. Hey, I guess it's up there, but there's a lot of good shows on Wager Talk, including Teddy's Wager Talk today with Prez. We got Bet on It, Kelly Stewart, Gianni, Marco, Joe Ranieri holding down the college basketball show, NBA as well. So Wager Talk's got a lot of things going on the channel in YouTube. Guys, thanks for joining us each and every Monday, 10 a.m. Pacific time. And also, if you're watching on replay, that works too. Feel free to drop a line below, guys. Let us know, hey, if we missed any of these line moves, if you disagree with any of where we're saying the line is going, that's all welcome as well. So let us know you're watching in the replies below. And Teddy, just 2 games left here. Buffalo at Tampa Bay. Next game up, we got 53.5, 53 being the total in Raymond James. We're seeing -3 or -3.5. That's the Bucs in Tampa, Florida, Teddy.
Just 2 games left on Sunday. We still have the Monday night game as well. Look ahead line here for Bucs and Bills. Tampa -3.5, total of 53. My powering number is a little bit higher. It's at 5. I love this Bucs team. I continue to think they're the best team in the NFL, and that's what my power ratings show every week. Love is the wrong word, but I think Tampa's the best team in the league. The markets are 3.5 this morning. Total 53. There are 52.5s out there. There's 53.5 out there. You can find some variance on that total. This one's real simple. All right. If you like the Bills tonight, find a 3.5 and take them. Buffalo looks good on national TV. This line's coming 3. If you want to bet against the Bills tonight, like the Patriots, find a 3 and lay it with Tampa. Real simple. This is one situation where you do want to make, if you're making one bet on Monday Night Football, you make 2 bets. Either bet on the Bills or bet against the Bills, depending on how you feel about tonight's game, if you have a strong opinion on it. Because if Buffalo wins tonight, it's coming 3. And if Buffalo looks bad tonight, it'll come 3.5. It's a national TV game. That's likely. That's what I would expect to see. I shouldn't say it will, but I would expect to see that. All that being said, like I said, my powering number is a little bit higher on Tampa for this team. And look, there's certainly flaws with the Bucs defense. You can run on Tampa right now. You can pass on Tampa right now. But look, Tom Brady wasn't even good yesterday. He wasn't. He missed a bunch of throws. There were a handful of really bad throws. And when all said and done, there's the Bucs hanging 30 again. I mean, this offense is going to hang 30 every week until proven other, even against good defenses. It's a really difficult offense to stop with Gronk back and Evans healthy and Godwin healthy and Fournette giving them balance. It's, and Brady had a bad game. It wasn't a great game. And he was still 38 of 51 with 4 touchdowns. Tampa's no joke. Although defensively, they do have some concerns. They did get Carlton Davis, one of their starting corners, back. First game back from injured reserve. And he ended up coming up with a huge play that really helped you if you had Tampa minus the points in that one.
Teddy, we got Starchild here saying over 53 is the play in this one. Tampa Bay, like you're talking about, at least putting up 30 points. You mostly were concentrating on sides here, but totals betting, you like this over 53? Get on it sooner than later?
The early money's coming the other way. There were 53.5s and 53s. Now I'm seeing mostly 52.5, and the leading indicator books are pointing down right now. But I'm not. I don't anticipate this line's going to crash because the Bucs are an over team. So, but I don't think there's an urgency to bet it.
Sunday night game, and then we got the Monday nighter to wrap it up, guys. So we get Chicago, the Bears at the Green Bay Packers, 44 being the total. Teddy, we're seeing minus 12.5 at Westgate, minus 13 at South Point. So 12.5, 13, let's call it. That's the Packers at home Sunday night football here, Teddy.
Yeah, the market's not amused by the Chicago Bears. Look, that line was 11 and 45.5. My powering number is 10.5, and the market's, as you mentioned there. So, 12.5, 13's out there right now. It's a Bears team that, they've lost 6 of their last 7 against Arizona. There were some things to like about the game. Number one, they took 2 punches right off the bat, down 14-0, and they punched back. They didn't quit. They were in that game. From a box score standpoint, they won the box score, but of course, when you're minus 4 in turnovers, you can win all the box scores you want. But they showed care, and the defense. They're down 14-0 in that game early against a team that can move the football, and the defense came up and played their guts out. And I know Arizona finished with 33, but it wasn't a situation where Chicago showed quit. It wasn't a situation where they didn't take a punch. There was some positive takeaways from the Bears, but I mean, when you have Andy Dalton at QB, it's you're going to get an Dalton throw. You're going to get 1 or 2 of those every game. There were some yesterday that, they were rough. Green Bay coming off the bye. We'll have to see what their tackle situation looks like here. How about Aaron Rodgers, who fractured his pinky toe? And then we're all talking about how his toe was going to be a problem. And then against the Rams, he had no problem. Quote, "When I step on the field, I expect greatness. Anyone who's a great competitor feels the same way. I don't lean on excuses, not practicing a little toe injury." Remember, he didn't practice that whole week. They've got quarterback injuries. Kevin King, Jair Alexander. We'll have to see what that duo is going to do. They both missed the last game before the bye. And the last time LaFleur had extra time with them was before week 1. And that was the Packers' worst game of the year. So I don't know if that the time off is going to help Green Bay, especially when they went in fat and happy into that bye week. Nonetheless, anytime you take the Bears, there's a leap of faith with the quarterback play. And it's not like Chicago's got a real good track record at Lambeau Field against the Packers, or at Soldier Field for that matter.
Guys, check out TeddyCoversWagerTalk.com off the 2-1 day. Cashing his 5% with the Philadelphia Eagles. Also, huge moneymaker since 2015, going back multiple years here, guys. Over 56% in the NFL. Teddy covers Wager Talk or SportsMemo.com. Last game here, Teddy, Monday nighter. LA Rams, Arizona Cardinals. We're seeing the Cardinals minus 2.5 at DraftKings, minus 3 at most other sports books right now. 52 being the prevailing total. What are we thinking in this NFC West battle in Arizona, Teddy?
Yeah, I mean, it's been a good run in the NFL. The last 2 weeks have been good. The last 6 weeks have been, I think, 75% over the last 2 weeks, 65 over the last 6. And I remember coming on here on a Monday morning, I was in a really pissy mood, and I'm like, I'm doing too much work to be in this position in the NFL. And since that time, we've really been able to turn it up a notch. So again, 65% over the last 6 weeks, we are making money for the clients. Look ahead line here: Arizona minus 2.5, total 52.5. My powering number is Arizona minus 5. The markets aren't there this morning. They're sitting with 3s. There are a couple of 2.5s out there, but again, it's not a situation where I can confidently tell you'll be able to find a 2.5. Those are likely to be gone pretty soon. And, here's my big note on Arizona at the top. This is a Super Bowl worthy team. Don't forget it. 7 road games for Arizona, 7 double-digit wins. They haven't been as good as home. But it's worth noting, it had been 5 weeks since Kyler Murray played, and he only threw 15 pass attempts in that ball game. They were just able to take advantage of short fields. They were able to run the football all day. They didn't like they had to chuck it all around. But Murray, 59 rushing yards on 10 carries. Those are both season highs. And 2 rushing touchdowns, along with 2 passing touchdowns. This is a healthy Kyler Murray right now, and that's definitely a concern. And, of course, when it came to playing in the cold of Chicago, I thought they were the tougher team. Kingsbury talked about it after the game. We knew it would be grindy, wet, windy, cold. I thought our defense played tremendous, and that's the underrated factor on Arizona, how good that defense is. The Rams got the win against the Jags yesterday. Quote, it's nice to get the win after 3 subpar performances. Matthew Stafford. Even in that game, again, and they ended up blowing them out in the second half. But Stafford was missing throws that he should be making. And the box score is not going to show. If you weren't watching the game, it's not going to be obvious. If you're watching the game, you know exactly what I'm talking about. How about this one from Aaron Donald? When you get turnovers, you tend to win games. We need to build off this type of win we had today. We can't be satisfied. Got to stay hungry. That's one of those that stood out to me. Is like, you're supposed to be really hungry. You just lost 3 of your last 4. Arizona had a pretty good success against LA in the first meeting. I believe that was a Colt McCoy game. I'm not surprised at all if, again, we've seen at least some Arizona money in this one. The 2.5s that were there last night are mostly gone.
Thanks for joining us live, guys. If you're liking the content, please smash that like button. Let us know below if you're watching on replay. Teddy, just something here. A question from Bill Sloan on Twitter. Alabama still a -13.5 point favorite everywhere against Cincinnati. Emergency betting alerts are mostly for the NFL here. College bowl games, sides and totals are out at most sports books. Before we end it, anything here in the college bowls that you think you should jump on sooner rather than later? Or have you not looked at it much?
I looked at it last night for sure. When those numbers come up, you got to make a couple of bets and you got to pay attention to where the markets are moving. There are a couple of books that have moved to 14. I can't imagine the line, there not being some semblance of Alabama, even though Cincy hung tough with Georgia last year in their bowl game. I would not be surprised if we saw some Bama money. But is there, you got to get 13.5 versus 14? Look, this game's being played. I guess it's not being played. It's New Year's Eve that they have it this year. So you got a month, or you got the 3.5, 4 weeks. You can lock in now at 13.5, and I wouldn't talk you out of that. If you like the Alabama side, lock in. But this game's not going to be a lot of funny things happen in bowl games between now and kickoff in terms of what assistants get hurt what assistants end up going to other spots. And that's, again, the mainstream media is going to focus on the head coaches. If you want to win bowl season, pay attention to where the assistants are going and which team keeps their coaching staff and which team loses all those assistants. Because that's where the X's and O's are really, that's where the bread is buttered in college football. And it matters a lot for these bowl games. Again, 13.5, I wouldn't anticipate you're going to get a better number than that with Alabama. It's not going to hurt you to lock in, but it's the bets you're making over the summer on the football advanced lines. If you're betting it now, you better be damn sure that A, it's a play you like, and B, that there's ample rationale behind, and not they play you like, but that you're properly bankrolled so that you're not going to be wanting to use this money for other bets before this game actually kicks off.
Wise advice there from Teddy Covers. Guys, follow him on Twitter at Teddy_Covers. 2-1 yesterday, 56% plus actually for the last since 2015, week 1 of 2015, 250 and 194 in the NFL betting markets. Check them out. $9 Monday, wagertalk.com. Also, I got a special here, guys, college basketball and college football. All of my plays for a huge discount until the college football national championship. Drew Martin at wagertalk.com. So Drew Martin, Teddy Covers. Teddy, I'll throw it over to you. Kind of final thoughts here before we shut this down, buddy.
You promo me every week, buddy. You got a good special. I got to promo you. Check out Drew Martin's plays over at wagertalk.com. Is there a promo code you need with that, Drew? Or is it just all hoops? What is it? All college for $179 for the month?
Yeah, college football, college basketball through the college football national championship for more than half off, guys. So hey, college basketball totals over 400 plays, 57% for me, and then 70% the last 20. So short term and long term there, Teddy. But guys, check it out. Drew Martin, wagertalk.com. Teddy covers at wagertalk and sportsmemo.com. We'll be back next Monday, 10 a.m. Pacific, right here for the NFL opening line report for week 15. So huge shout out to everybody joining us live. Please drop a line below if you're watching on replay. For Teddy Covers, I'm Drew Martin. Best of luck with your bets. Thanks for tuning in.
Each and every Monday is $9 Monday at wagertalk.com, and all daily picks packages are priced at only $9, including 5% best bets, normally priced at $35. As an added bonus, any picks packages loaded early for overnight Tuesday or action during the week will also be priced at $9 until midnight on Monday. So make sure to take advantage of getting these $25 and $35 picks for only $9 before the clock strikes 12 and they return to regular price.